Good morning, everyone. Nikki here with our gentle yoga class. So today we are on the fourth yama, and this one is non-excess, and it's called Brahmacharya. So find yourself in any comfortable position, allowing yourself to either lay down or sit down, sit on a chair, sit in on the floor, lay on your back. I love to lay on my back, feels good. Whatever would feel most comforting to you. And I do have my props here for later, so I'll be moving on to the mat. But as you begin to arrive, just allow yourself to maybe close down your eyes or soften your gaze, turning your reflection inward. Notice if anything is there inside. And then think about if you have any intentions for your practice today. I have a short reading on the fourth yama, which is called Brahmacharya, and it means non-excess. In the book by Deborah Adele, she says, Brahmacharya reminds us to enter each day and each action with a sense of holiness rather than indulgence, so that our days may be lived in the wonder of sacredness rather than the misery of excess. She goes on to say, if we stop and reflect on our lives or out at the world, we can see an innate intelligence about us. It is as if a beautiful tapestry is being woven, and we are one of the colors of thread being moved by a needle held by something greater than we are. It is this greatness, the master weaver, which we seek to be in touch with. When we see with the eyes of mystery, we begin to see the sacred in the ordinary and the ordinary in the sacred. Each task becomes an opportunity to wonder and be amazed, mending the split between what we see as important or not and who we see as important or not, puts us on the path to cherishing all people and all tasks. Media, culture, even our egos separate, divide, and then rank. We are asked to bring it all together and cherish it all by seeing the thread of the divine at play. When gratitude and wonder sit in the heart, there is no need for excess. Seeing everything as holy brings a continuity to life. It grounds us in centeredness, whereas excess overdoes us, overextends us. takes away from ourselves, seeing everything as sacred, firmly roots us and balances us. Of course, I could go on and on. This is such a beautiful reading in the book. We'll get started in our movement practice. So, from wherever you're at, go ahead and make your way to a seat. So, if you're lying down, you can roll onto one side and take a seat. You can either sit in a chair or sit on the ground. If you're coming onto the ground, maybe you use a pillow or a blanket to find a little bit of lift to your seat. You could always use blocks underneath your knees for support as well. Wherever you feel most comfortable, we'll start by centering into our breath. So feel free to close your eyes if you like. We're going to start to practice Ujjayi breathing. This is the warrior's breath. We can take this breath practice into our everyday lives off of the mat if we can practice it on the mat. So just allow yourself to close down your eyes or soften your gaze. You can allow your lips to seal. Find a slight part for the teeth so you're not grinding your teeth together, locking your jaw. Find some spaciousness and then start to gently breathe in and out through your nose. You can extend your inhales and your exhales. Start to listen for the ocean-like quality of your breath. And then on your next exhale, allow your head to gently bow towards your heart. Take a nice deep breath here. And on your next exhale, you can float your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Just find that stretch along the side of the neck. Take a nice deep breath, and as you exhale, you can bow your head towards your heart once more. Stay for the inhale, and as you exhale, bring your left ear gently over towards your left shoulder. Could be any amount. Just finding that nice little tug along the side of the neck. You can gracefully float from side to side, following the pace of your own breath. Allowing your shoulders to melt away from your ears. Just taking this time to tune in. Any thoughts begin to creep in. See if you can let them go. Coming back to the spaciousness of your breath. And thinking about how you can notice sensations with compassion and curiosity. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then when you feel balanced from left to right, we'll slowly make our way to center. The next time you find center, you can inhale, lift the gaze to center. We'll start to do some shoulder shrugs. Bringing the shoulders up towards the ears, rounding them down and back. Just gathering up anything that feels stuck, tight. Just knowing this breath and this movement are helping to loosen it up, like clearing cobwebs. Maybe you toggle one shoulder at a time. And then when you're ready, you can reverse the direction, bringing the shoulders up from behind and down around in front, either one at a time or sync the movement up together. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Let's go ahead and bring the hands to the heart center and then grow your hands up towards the sky. As soon as your fingertips reach up towards the sky, you'll part the hands, bring the right hand down in front, flutter the left hand down behind you, turning to the left. Inhale, bring the hands to center, grow them up towards the sky, and then we'll turn to the right as your left hand comes forward, right hand comes back. A few more times just like this, twisting to each side. Noticing the parting of the fountain of your hands, springing up like a well from your heart. The next time we turn to the left, we're going to pause here so you can land your hands this time. Maybe you bring your right hand to your right knee, or you can cross it over towards your left hand. You can swing your left, oh, I meant your left knee. You can swing your left hand around behind you. Maybe you turn your gaze back past your shoulder, any amount. As you inhale, lengthen through the spine, grow the crown of the head up. And as you exhale, continue to peek around. It's like wringing out a sponge, thinking about wringing out through the spine. On the next exhale breath, we'll come back to center. And then let's do a few more of those twists. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, part the hands. And actually, let's just stay instead of continuing the movement. This time we're going to stay on the right-hand side. So you can press your left hand into your left knee, reach it across to your right knee, either way. And we'll lengthen through the spine. You can swing that right hand around behind you. Plant it anywhere. If you're sitting in a chair, maybe you reach onto the chair. You could plant it onto a block. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to twist. Take one more nice deep breath here. And with your next inhale breath, you can release that twist. We're going to find some movement for the spine. If it feels okay to be on hands and knees, you might come into a tabletop. If you want to stay seated and you need to extend the legs out long, that's an option too. So either cross-legged or maybe you bring the legs out wide. We'll inhale to lift the heart forward. This is cow pose. Exhale to round the spine back for cat. Go ahead and take a few rounds just like this. Imagining you're polishing the vertebrae of your spine. Maybe you can imagine that mystery of the intricate design of your spinal column. After a few rounds just like this, you're welcome to find some barrel rolls. Starting in one direction, you could imagine you're scraping out the inside of a peanut butter jar. And then the next time your chest comes forward, maybe you reverse the direction. And when you're ready, we'll come back to center. Now, if you're in hands and knees, you might like to try a child's pose. That would be bringing the big toes to touch, opening the knees wide, sinking the hips back. If you're wanting to not be on the knees, maybe you make your way towards standing. Eventually, we're going to all meet up in standing. So, because I'm avoiding that knee, I'm just swinging the left knee forward to stamp the foot down and using the blocks underneath my hands and then tucking the back toes under to lift the back knee. So you can stay for a moment if you're joining me towards standing in a high lunge, reaching that right foot back with the left foot forward. Find a nice gentle bend in the front knee, and maybe you want to floss the hips a little front and back in a bit of a runner's lunge. When you're ready, we'll hop that back foot in, find your forward fold, and then try the other side, stepping the left foot back, framing the right foot, and just a little micro movement, swaying front to back, any amount. When you're ready, we'll all meet up in a forward fold. You can find some generous space in between your feet, making room for your torso and your belly. Maybe you wrap your opposite elbows and just allow yourself to hang heavy here. Gently swaying side to side, just like a rag doll. Finding length, any amount of length through the back of the body. This gentle sway. You might even pause for a moment to sigh out through the mouth. Thinking of non-excess, what can you let go of? And then we're going to come back to center. You can bring your hands either to blocks or rest them on your legs or the seat of a chair. We'll inhale to lift up halfway, lengthen the spine, hug the shoulder blades towards each other on the back, and then exhale to forward fold. Inhale, we lift up halfway. Exhale, forward folding any amount. And one more time, we call this halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. We call this Uttanasana. And we're going to rise up to standing. So find a little micro bend in your knees. Float the heart up towards the sky. Sweep the hands around. And then you can draw the hands towards the heart center. Take a moment to pause here in standing mountain pose, Tadasana, with your feet planting, rooting onto the earth. You can allow your hands to rest at your heart center. And just feel the rise and fall of your heart with your breath. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. We're going to come to the long edge of the mat now. And you can use a chair for these standing poses as well. So I'm going to show how you might be able to use that. You could, if you have blocks, Maybe you want to bring the blocks to the front of your mat as well for some extra support. So we're going to come into a wide-legged stance. I have both my blocks on the high setting. You can bring your toes out to the side. And of course, if you prefer right here, you can always sit on the chair instead. Because we're going to do some movement in and out of a goddess squat. It's a little bit of squatting. So take your hands, open your fingers out wide, bring your hands right to the side of your rib cage, and then we'll grow the arms out towards the corners of the room. You're now a 5-pointed star. And just allow yourself to feel the quality of the star-like shine from your heart. And maybe imagine all the energy that you've scattered about. Can you call it back to yourself, back into your heart, and feel the glow? On the next exhale, we're going to cactus the arms, and then you can start to bend the knees into a squat, maybe even sitting on the chair if you like for your squat. And then we're going to include a lion's breath. So with your exhale, you can stick out the tongue, scrunch up the eyes and the face. Let the tongue stick out as you sigh out through the mouth for lion's breath. Inhale, you can lengthen your legs, lengthen your arms. If you're standing, come back into your star. You can stay on the seat if you're seated, pressing your feet into the mat as if you were going to step off of that chair. And then 3 more times, we're going to come back into our goddess squat, cactusing the arms, sticking out the tongue. Think of letting go of anything that no longer serves you. What are the excesses in your life that you want to release? Let them go with your lion's breath. Inhale, reach. Fill yourself with all that energy and then release what no longer serves you. On the next exhale, you can bring your hands down to your thighs. You can stay in this goddess squat, as I mentioned, standing, or feel free to find a seat. We're going to do a little bit of twisting here. So you can lean your torso forward, bring your right shoulder just in the direction of your left knee for a little twist. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, twist to the right. Any amount. Couple more times, side to side, following your own pace, own breath movement. Inhaling to center, exhaling to twist. Maybe one more time on each side. And if you're standing in your squat, you're going to probably want to give your squat a little bit of a break. So let's come back into our star shape for a moment. And then exhale to come back into your goddess squat. This time we're going to play around with balance. So you can either keep your hands at your hips to help you with balance. You can cactus your arms, stretching through the feet. So if you're in your standing squat, go ahead and just, this is optional, you can lift your left heel off of the earth. It even feels good in the chair because it's a nice stretch for the foot. And then go ahead and land that heel. Inhale to lift your right heel. And then exhale to lower it. Feel free to oscillate side to side a few more times, or if you really want to challenge your balance, you might try lifting both heels at the same time. Remember, you can always give your arms a break. You can always do this from a seat. And just getting a nice stretch through the feet. Maybe challenging your balance if you're standing. From here, we'll lower our feet down, and then we're going to bring the feet so that they're now parallel. For this, I'm going to do this one standing. So you're going to bring your arms together behind you. So you can either interlace your hands behind you. If that feels like that's too much of an ask, go ahead and either grab a strap in between your hands or just bring your hands to your hips. You could also tug on the back of your shirt. So only if it feels comfortable, you can interlace your hands. We'll inhale to lead from the heart, hinge from the hips, and allow your chest to come down into a wide-legged forward fold. Make any adjustments that you need. You might peel your arms away from you, allowing your hands to float overhead, or land your hands on your low back, or feel free to reach for support. At any time, you can release your hands. So take your time, allow for that stretch if it feels good. Glide your hands down the back of your legs, and then you can either bring your hands onto blocks, onto the ground, or maybe you move that seat of the chair in front of you. You can have your arms on the chair seat, wherever you'd like. On your next inhale, you can lift your spine up halfway. So you're in that halfway lift with your legs wide. So it's like a wide-legged halfway lift. We're going to do a little bit of twisting here. So you can plant your right hand underneath your face, bring your left hand to your hip, and start to dial your left shoulder up, maybe peeking up towards the sky. You could even reach your whole entire fingertips up towards the sky if that feels good. Then on your next exhale, we're going to weave that hand underneath the body. So you can sweep the hand under, maybe you reach over towards your right toes, or you can grab hold with your left fingertips anywhere along your left leg. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So bring your hand to your hip if you like. Dial the shoulder up, maybe look up, exhale, come back to neutral, and reach your fingertips under. One more time, your choice, any variation, remembering that each of these shapes, just like us, is infinite, and our place within it changes day to day. Okay, when you feel ready, we'll come back to center. And then we get to try that on the other side. So you can plant your left palm underneath your face. Bring your right hand to your hip. Start to peel the right shoulder up. Exhale, weave the hand underneath like thread the needle. 2 more times on this side. Feel free to reach your arm up if that feels good. And then after that last round, you can bring your toes, pivot the toes to the corners of the mat, walk your hands up onto your legs, and come back up to standing. Let's just take a moment to shake all that off. So you can kind of shake your arms, shake your legs. Give everything a little good shake. Now, recently somebody shared with me this idea of bouncing. And actually, I did take a class at PCC. It was Better Bones and Balance. So we could take a little moment to bounce the body too. And this is good for resistance, for our joints and our bones. So you're just bringing yourself up onto the balls of the toes and landing the heels down. I know that there's even a Qigong movement here called, my friend told me, I think it's called dropping posts, just landing the heels and shaking it off. Okay, when you're ready, you can stop that movement. You could always bounce there or jump. And then we're going to come back to the short edge of our mat, and we're going to find our downward facing dog. So feel free to use the wall if you have it, a chair, any kind of downward dog movement that you would like. Eventually, we are going to make our way onto our bellies if that's comfortable. So to come onto the belly, like I said, I'm really being careful of my left knee that I injured. So to come onto the belly from a supported down dog, if one knee is okay, you can step that right leg back, bend onto the knee, and then just carefully allow yourself to lower down onto your belly. You might even tuck your toes under to create like a little bit of a plank, and then gently, gently lower down onto the belly. You can extend one leg back at a time, rolling a little bit side to side, and then either stack your hands to make a pillow for your forehead, or you can stack fists if you need more space to make room for the forehead. Take a moment to rest here in what we call Makrasana, crocodile pose. This is a nice resting shape. Feel the rise and fall of your back body. And just take a moment to soften all of your effort. You might even bend your knees here and let your heels sway from side to side. Maybe this is a nice massage for the belly, the thighs. Or where do you notice sensation? I forgot to mention that if you have space on a bed, you could also do laying down poses on the bed if you need to avoid coming down onto the knee. Getting on the floor can be challenging. Next, we're going to come into some baby cobras. So we're going to do some baby cobras with a little bit of a gentle twist for the neck as well. So you can land your hands underneath your shoulders. I'm going to use a block for underneath my head just because it's a far distance for my head to reach the ground. So I have a block out in front. Maybe a pillow would work or a bolster. Go ahead and roll your shoulders up towards your ears and then glide them down and back. We'll use the strength of your spine and your core to lift up any amount. On your next exhale, turn your gaze to the left, allowing your right temple to either rest on the ground or a block. And allow yourself to really rest here, softening your effort, creating a bit of ease. And we'll do that now one more time. Well, we're going to do it a few more times, but this time we'll lift up, inhale into your baby cobra. Use the strength of your spine and your core. And then when you exhale, you can turn your gaze this time to the right. allowing your left temple to rest on the earth. Maybe find a nice gentle curve through your neck, little gentle stretch. If it's too much, you can always just land your forehead on the ground. Inhale, roll the shoulders up and back, another baby cobra. Exhale, turn your head to the left or land your forehead. Soften your effort. Inhale, roll your shoulders up and back. Baby cobra. You're finding a light touch with your hands, so you could even challenge your strength of your spine by floating your hands over the ground or just having a very light touch. And then we're turning the neck to the right, landing the left side of the head. Take one more or two more baby cobras, landing each side of the head. Breathing into sensations. And then when you're ready, come back to center. Go ahead and prop up onto your elbows. We call this Sphinx pose, and you can just watch what I'm going to do next. Hopefully you can see it well from where you're at. So I'm going to do a little bit of a chest opener. So we'll extend the left arm out to the left. Plant your right hand underneath your right shoulder, and then start to creep the left fingertips behind you as you roll onto your left side, any amount. You could wedge that block right underneath your head or rest your head on the ground. Now you can moderate how deeply you go here. You can stay here with your legs stacked, or if you want to deepen this stretch, you might bend your top knee and place the toes behind you. So finding how far you would like to go just to open through the heart, open through the chest, a little bit of a twist, maybe if you include the leg. Now another variation would be if you have that top leg straight, you might bend the knee if you want a quad stretch. So reaching down, possibly with the right hand to grab hold of the right ankle. Again, remembering that these are all options and variations, allowing that right knee to stack over the left knee. And you can deepen the sensation by flexing the right toes towards the knee. Maybe you do this for a few rounds of breath and then you decide to come back to just stacking the legs. Take one more nice deep breath into the chest, into the shoulder, and then we'll roll back onto the belly and get ready for the other side. So you can creep the right fingertips directly behind you like a letter T. Plant your left hand underneath your shoulder and then just start to roll onto your right side, stacking your legs, opening through your shoulder. You might use a block underneath your head. You can stay right here, or if you want to go deeper, you might bend the top knee, plant the foot behind you, or if you bend, sorry, that's the left knee, bend the top knee, that's the left knee that I'm on. You can grab hold with your left hand of your left ankle. If you want that quad stretch, see about flexing the toes towards the knee, allowing the knees to stack as best they can. You might take a few nice deep breaths here and decide when enough is enough. You can always keep the legs stacked. Go ahead and take one more nice deep breath into the chest and shoulder, noticing variations from left to right with compassion and curiosity. And then we'll roll back onto the belly. We're going to do that pose I was mentioning before class. So come into Sphinx pose with your elbows underneath your shoulder, and then you can come into a half frog. So to do that, you're going to roll a little bit onto the right, bring the left knee, bend the left knee so that the left knee is out to the side. So this is your frog leg here. And then we can include a variation of thread the needle here. You can stay right here in your Sphinx of your half frog, especially if this is giving you a lot of sensation. Or you could press into your right hand, so you're lifting that right elbow off of the ground. I'm going to bring a block for underneath my head and then weave the left hand under. And this is just a variation here on thread the needle. Weaving that arm under for a little bit of an upper back twist. Once more, totally optional. Feel free to explore, change your mind. We don't have to go to our opposite, our absolute extreme. This is the lesson of non-excess Brahmacharya. So seeing what feels good for you. Focusing on the breath. How can we relax into sometimes awkward positions? This is how we train ourselves in life to be in uncomfortable, sometimes awkward situations. Breathe ourselves into comfort. When you're ready, you can unwind your torso from your twist, coming back into your Sphinx pose. Slide the legs back so they're parallel, and then we'll try that on the other side. So you'll kind of roll a little bit to your left side just to free your right knee. Bend into the knee to create your frog leg, and then see if you want to hang out just in this half frog. Maybe this is providing enough sensation for you. If you want to include the upper body twist, you could press into your left hand to lift your left elbow and then weave the right hand underneath, maybe creating a pillow to rest your head. Make sure you're listening to yourself, listening to your body, not forcing yourself to be too uncomfortable. It's not sustainable. Let's go ahead and take one more nice deep breath wherever you're at. And then when you're ready, You can unwind from your twist. Bring your arms back into Sphinx. Lengthen your legs out long. And then from here, you can plant your palms underneath your shoulders. Press up into tabletop if it's okay to be on your knees. If it's not okay to be on the knees, just go ahead and roll onto your back. And you might like a strap, so go ahead and grab a strap if you have one. You can hug your knees in towards your chest. Either wrap your hands around your shins or wrap your strap around your shins. And then we'll just do a little bit to massage the low back. So start to dial the knees in a little mini circle, breathing into the low back. They say this area of our sacrum. In yoga, we talk about the chakra system. We have seven energy centers or chakras. This is the second one is in the sacrum area. So you might just imagine a beautiful orb of energy there. This is the center of our emotions, our creativity. So after a few rounds in one direction, you can go ahead and change direction. So we've come onto our back now. In case you were coming up into tabletop, I forgot to mention, come onto your back. Gentle massage for the low back. And one thing I hear about a lot as a yoga teacher, and I experience this myself sometimes too, is some, tenderness of the low back. And so what I've heard is that the way we can address some of that tenderness is to strengthen our core. So when you're ready, go ahead and release your hands around the strap. We're going to do a little bit of core strengthening here. So you're on your back in what's called a dead bug position. This is an upside down tabletop. So you can bend your elbows and bend your knees and see about energetically drawing them towards each other. Not that they need to touch. Although if you did want them to touch, you could bring an elbow or a block in between the elbow and knee. Oh, the block is so far. So this would make it extra challenging would be to bring a block between the elbow and knee so that you're sort of pressing them towards each other. And you might feel that trembling engagement of your core. So with or without blocks. Now you can stay right here, just drawing the elbows and knees towards each other, or we can find a little bit of a dead bug dance. So maybe you stretch your right fingertips and your left heel up towards the sky. It's like a cross body movement. And then bring them back to the starting place. Stretch your left hand, right foot up towards the sky. And then continue in this cross crawl movement. To sort of give the mind something to do, to not focus on the strengthening of our core. To make this extra challenging, a third option would be to stretch your left arm long, your right leg long to hover, and then bring it back to the starting position. Cross crawl. When you feel done with that, just allow yourself an opportunity to relax on the earth. Find a long body stretch. Reach the legs long, the arms long, and just allow yourself to be held, softening all of your effort. And then when you're ready, we'll come into a bridge prep. So you're going to Bend the knees. I'm just kind of scooching onto my mat here. Bend the knees, plant the feet on the mat. You can walk the heels in towards the sit bones. Hug the elbows in towards the torso. Point the fingertips up towards the sky. I'm going to get ready for a few rounds of bridge. So you can start with a little baby bridge by rocking the pelvis forward and back. Imagining that long tailbone, reaching the tailbone up towards, pointing it up towards the knees. As you tilt the pelvis, you can press your low back towards the mat. And then inhale, rock the pelvis the other way, finding space underneath the low back. Nice curve in the lumbar spine. And so you're just going to rock the pelvis forward and back. If it feels good to you, as you hug the elbows in towards the rib cage, point the fingertips up towards the sky, you might grow your rocking by pressing into the heels and lifting the hip points. And finding a few rounds of bridge. As you grow your bridge, you might start to extend so that you're coming up onto the shoulders, lifting the spine, using the strength of your quads, your glutes, and then gently softening, rolling back down. So just play around with your version of bridge. And the next time you pop up into any version of bridge, you might hold it for a few rounds of breath. You could release your hands to interlace underneath you, shimmying your shoulders underneath the body. Or if you want a supported bridge, maybe you take a handy pillow or block and slide it right underneath the sacrum. Give yourself an opportunity to stay in the position with a little bit of rest. And maybe you take some breaks of rest by pressing up and holding your bridge, and then softening and resting. Playing around with the balance of effort and ease. Now, if you're in the supported bridge and want to do a little bit of a gentle inversion, you could do a shoulder stand here by just allowing the legs to float up towards the sky in like a waterfall or candlestick position. Maybe you take a moment to gaze lovingly up toward your legs, your knees, your ankles, your feet. Just allowing yourself to reverse the flow of gravity's hold in the body. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and land your feet. Press into your heels to lift your hips and allow your spine to roll back down one vertebrae at a time. Now we'll come into a happy baby, hugging the knees in towards the armpits. In the direction of the armpits, you can hug behind the knees. You can walk your hands up onto your ankles or grab hold of your feet and find a little bit of rocking side to side. You might feel a gentle caress, massage of your back against the earth. Before we head to our final resting pose, I'm going to walk you through a variation on figure 4 with a twist. This is going to be a version with a twist on the back. But I also like to give people the option if you have a favorite pose, this could also be your extra choice time. So I always like to use support for my figure four. So I'm going to move myself over to the couch this time. So waddling my way over to the couch. And you could also, if I did have the wall, I didn't have the couch in the way of the wall, I would probably use the wall, and you're going to basically bring your legs up onto the couch or the wall. Then you can extend the legs long, bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh, and then draw the shape into the body. This pose is actually getting at the same area as pigeon. And so if you're familiar with that pose, I haven't demonstrated it in this class series yet because of my knee issue. So that would be involve being on the knee. But if pigeon is part of your practice and you'd like to include that instead, you're welcome to. So you're going to bring that right ankle onto the left thigh, draw the shape into the body. Of course, you can hug behind the left thigh and draw the shape in. You could also use a strap behind the left thigh to draw the shape in to create a little bit more space. So we're going to pause for a few rounds of breath in figure four. And then eventually we'll turn this into a twist in a moment, or have that option at least. So take a moment to pause, maybe closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. You might even find a little bit of movement feels soothing here, rocking the figure four gently side to side. And then if you want to include the option of the twist, you're going to take the whole entire figure four shape and land it on the ground so that your right foot lands on the ground. You can extend your right arm off to the side, and maybe you want to reach down with your left hand and grab hold of your right ankle. You're always welcome to change this position to a different kind of twist if this one isn't comfortable for you. Notice where you can soften, feeling the support of the earth beneath you. If you have your hand resting on your right foot, maybe you could take your fingertips and gently massage the crease of your ankle where your foot meets your leg, noticing if there's any tender places there. And then when you're ready, you're going to unwind from your twist. Come back to your feet up against the wall or up against the couch. You can rotate the ankles. Just allow yourself to recalibrate towards center. And then we'll get ready for the other side, bringing the left ankle onto the right thigh. And then bending the right knee to draw the shape into the body. Take a moment to observe the differences from left to right. Maybe you can send loving kindness down into the hip joint. You can deepen this sensation a little bit by flexing the left toes towards the knee, energetically pressing that left knee away from you. Or use your hand to physically press the left knee away from you. I think I demonstrated this pose on a chair before previous class, so remember that you always have that option. If you're ready and you want to turn this into a twist, you're basically just going to allow the whole figure four shape to make its way to the right. So maybe landing your left foot on the earth, you might reach down with your right hand to grab hold of your ankle. And you can reach your left hand out to the left, turning your gaze. You could always unwind from this version and come into any version of a twist. Noticing if you can settle, like leaves falling to the earth, and you allow yourself to find that support. If your right hand is resting on your left foot, maybe you take a moment to just gently explore with your finger pads the areas of the top of the foot, maybe that crease where the foot and the ankle, where the foot and the leg meet at the ankle. Take one more nice deep breath wherever you're at. And then when you're ready, you can unwind from your twist. If you have a wall space or a couch or bed nearby, you might shimmy yourself a little bit closer and just pause with your legs resting on support for a nice gentle inversion. Turning ourselves upside down, sometimes changing our minds, changing our perspectives, allowing for gravity to work in our body in a different way. And I've heard it said that our lymph system can drain this way too because it doesn't have its own pumping mechanism. So anything we can do, like jumping or turning upside down, can help to move our lymph in our bodies. So before your final resting pose, I invite you to find this gentle inversion. And then at any time that you feel ready, you can make your way either to a rest on your back in constructive rest pose, or maybe seated if you prefer. And we'll be pausing for some moments of quiet before I return to the reading on non-excess. See if you can allow yourself this moment of quiet to rest the forehead, soften through the jaw, and allow the shoulders to relax. I have found that when the sense of wonder leaves me, when everything becomes dull and ordinary, it is because I have kept too fast a pace for too long. I have pushed past my own boundaries, and now I am out of balance. It is time to rest. When I am rested, nothing is dull or ordinary. Everything glows with mystery. Whether I take it easy for a day or escape into the woods by myself, it is hard to give this rest to myself. There are a million and one reasons why I can't. My ego likes to feel important, and it doesn't feel very important when I'm resting. My ego also doesn't like the idea that life can go on without me, even if only for a few hours. I like to be where the action is. Besides, in this culture of constant activity, there is always so much that needs to be done. Brahmacharya, non-excess, reminds us that we aren't embodied in this form to feel dead, but to feel alive. We aren't embodied to snuff out our vitality and passion through excess, but to bring it to full expression. Howard Thurman understood the importance of our passion to the world when he said, "Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go and do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive." You can begin to start to deepen your breath. And then let your imagination wander. Let your consciousness float out among the stars. And pause there, practicing awe and wonder. What a mystery and a tremendous gift it is to be here today, alive in this unique time and place. And take a moment to gaze down lovingly towards your earthly form, the gift of a body. So often we critique, criticize, and we celebrate. Allow yourself to float softly, gracefully like a feather, your awareness re-inhabiting your body. Begin to deepen your breath and delight in your breath, filling your lungs, filling your body with breath. Start to invite some gentle movements now into your fingers and into your toes, rotating your wrists and your ankles. And then take a nice long body stretch, reaching your arms long, your legs long. You can roll onto one side, finding yourself in a fetal position. Now cradle your head on your upper arm. And when you're ready, you can press yourself up into a seat, inviting your hands to meet at your heart center in a gesture of gratitude, Anjali Mudra. We can sing and chant together Om, the sound of the birthing of the universe, and then Shanti, 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 which means peace, peace, peace. Feel free to take a nice deep breath in, let it go with a full exhale, and we'll inhale for Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can allow your head to bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to have this time with you. So feel free to stick around if you have thoughts or questions about class. I hope to see you next time.